show, we'll be talking about Bible personalities like Father Abraham, Queen Esther, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel. But today, we are focusing on that Jewish orphan girl that became queen in a foreign land, Esther. And we're reading our Bible text from Esther chapter 2 to chapter 10. With me in the house, when we come back, is a very special guest. She's done a couple of gospel films, and I hope you want to hear what she has to say. I still remain your presenter, Netu Esther. We'll be right back. On today's show, we have a wonderful sister in the house. She is a drama minister, and we're going to be talking about the famous Queen Esther. And we're taking a Bible text from Esther chapter 2 to 10. And by the grace of God, she'll be telling us what she knows about Queen Esther. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Oladipopo Patience Boluwatife. I'm a drama minister as well as an educationist. Esther is a Jewish orphan who was mentored by her uncle. And the name Esther actually means star, of which she actually shone.
Yes, she demonstrated that.
And even before her name was changed, the name Hadassah means righteousness. And she actually portrayed it because she remained a virgin. So she kept herself righteous.
And how come Esther was this righteous and orphan girl that had no father, no mother to tell her what to do? How come?
What I would say about that is that she had a teachable spirit.
And she learned under her uncle Mordecai.
Yeah.
Mordecai taught her the fear of God, the ways of the Lord.
Yeah, because if she does not have a teachable spirit, then no matter what, you cannot train her, just as it is for many children these days. Then she was obedient.
Okay, yes.
She listened to details, the detailed information her uncle gave her. She listened.
And when she eventually became queen, and like many people today, when they get into places of position, they want to amass wealth, they want to use their position to oppress the poor. What was that significant thing that she did?
The significant thing Esther did when she got into power was that she actually humbled herself and feared God.
Yes.
She allowed the fear of God to rule our dealings, our daily activities. And how would I prove this? Because when situations came up around her, she didn't just show that, yes, she had this power, but she still had to meet God. She inquired from God.
And when the plot came to destroy the Jewish people, her people, by the wicked Haman, she decided to fast and pray. And because she had a cordial relationship with people working with her, her maidens fasted and prayed with her. And the good thing is, the Jewish people that she was even believing God for their deliverance, they also fasted and prayed. And the encouragement came from her uncle Mordecai. I told Esther, you cannot be in the palace at a time like this and you keep short, because if everybody will be destroyed, you will be included. And again, she brought the situation to God. God, these are your people. I'm here in the palace. There is this decree that we're going to be eradicated. And God was able to make a way for their deliverance. And there was this part of the story that I love so much, because Haman was an enemy to the Jewish people, and he planned how Mordecai would be executed. And what happened?
God overturned the rule.
Yes.
Because he actually got the king's favor.
Yes.
But when God stepped into the case, he overturned the rule, and the gallows that Haman had actually dug.
Yes, for Mordecai.
It was the one buried into it. And it wasn't just him and his children.
Yes.
That's why fathers carry a lot of responsibility.
Yes.
So they don't bring punishment upon their children. So.
Okay. It was very wonderful that Haman was destroyed, and well, what now happened to Mordecai?
You know, since it was God that was in control of everything, God gave him the position of Haman. Actually, Haman used to be the second in command to the king, while Mordecai was a gate man, you know.
Imagine that.
So when the tide turned for him, he became the second in command to the king, and happy was he, and him and Esther.
And do you know how it would have felt for him and his people then, because this was somebody coming from a Jewish background into a foreign land and now becoming second in command to the king.
Yeah,
God is wonderful.
Why he actually became, but that was why Haman had evil plans against him, because you know there was this edict that when the second in command to the king is coming, everybody bows,
yes,
or kneels, but there is no time that Haman passes and Mordecai gives him any honor or respect. Why? Because he's a Jewish man. So there are rules in their tribe or something is that they don't give honor to any other person other than God.
And that is wonderful.
So, and he kept to that, and that was why Haman just hated him for nothing. Like, who is this person that everybody respects me? You know, the ego of his position. Everybody gives him honor, everybody respects him, but this person just treats him like a nobody.
And if you look at the tradition then, Mordecai is supposed to be like a slave under Haman. But God is wonderful. Look at the miracles that God can do. I want to talk about Esther's beauty. Like when she became queen, and the Bible made us to know that Esther was a very beautiful woman. And compared to women these days, what will such women do with their beauty? Some will use it as a bait to entrap men. So what can you say about Esther's beauty?
Esther was a different woman. She had the fear of God in her heart, and she understood the fact that her body was the temple of God. So she wasn't ready to defile her body. You know, the things we see now, prostitution and all this, has actually been even in the old time. So it wasn't like it's because there was nothing of such during those time. But she just decided to keep herself. And that's why it baffles me these days when I see some people, especially some students, saying, I do this business, this prostitution business just to get good money. I'm an orphan. I mean, I have just a single parent. My mom is Zakara, she sells and the likes. So that's why they go into the business to help themselves to survive. But see the case of Esther.
Esther's case was quite different. She was not like that. She had the fear of God.
It was the uncle that taught her. And it wasn't even recorded that the uncle was a rich man.
Yes.
So the uncle was also poor, but she just decided in her heart that, yes, my name is Esther. I am a star. I'm still dreaming of that day when the star would actually shine for the world to see. So I have to keep myself and reserve myself so that by the time that brightness comes, everybody would actually see it.
Thank you so much. And there's this part that you don't go into the king's court unannounced, that anybody that wants to see the king, there's this procedure you take. But when it came to the time that Esther wanted to present her case to the king, she went in uninvited. What can you say about that?
Actually, when I read that, it's as a woman, that place encouraged me more to hold on to God. You know, the Bible says that the heart of man, that God can influence the heart of men the way he likes. So she had prayed. She actually soaked herself with 3 days prayer and fasting just for her to appear before the king without the king's order. And that was why immediately the king saw her, the king raised the scepter to invite her in. So it wasn't because the king loved her. It was because she had actually prepared her way with prayers. So she had allowed God to go ahead of her that, Father, as I'm going to see this king, let there be no break protocols.
Exactly, because she was really determined. Said, if I perish, I perish.
So, and God stood in for her. God broke the protocols for her. And that's why we, this generation, we need to realize that there is nothing prayer cannot do.
Exactly.
Prayers can break the strongest of hearts.
And we need to have faith. We need to be bold.
Yeah, because if she had chickened out, probably when the uncle told her, you better go now and go and do that. If she had chickened out, then she would not have been able to achieve it. But she was courageous and she was determined that I have prayed and I believe that the answer is here. So she went in and God granted her desire.
That was very, very nice. Okay, when we come back after this short break, we still have to talk about Esther, her qualities that we can make reference to this day. Welcome back. We still have our wonderful guests in the studio. Now we want to talk about the qualities we should emulate from the famous Queen Esther. My sister, what can you tell us?
On that, there are, excuse me, there are several qualities we can pick from the life of Esther. And the first is obedience. Because I'm picking that first because if she was not obedient, she wouldn't have gotten to the throne. So she was obedient. That's why we, viewers at home, we need to be obedient. Obedient to authorities. No authority is small. From your husband to your father, your mother, your elder, and your younger, the younger one should respect the older ones. So no authority is actually small. And you know, you see there's a part and place in the Bible where it says, in multitude of counsel, you know,
there is safety.
There is safety. So when you have people that can direct you, that are giving you orders, so far it is in line with the way of God, then be obedient. And another thing I would say that we need to work on is that we should be teachable. We should have a teachable spirit.
That's true.
It's one thing for authorities to try to guide you right. It's another thing for you to be able to receive it. There are some people that don't have the receptive spirit. They get easily angry when they are being corrected. You know, especially this generation, they feel as teenagers, they are, I'm big enough, I know what I'm doing. You know? But it isn't that way. So we should have a teachable spirit. We should be able to be tutored. Like it happened in the story of Elijah and Elisha, you know. So that leads me to the third point, being that as in we should be mentored. Because from the Bible, that Esther, our Bible study, that's Esther chapter 2, we're made to understand that it wasn't only the uncle, that is, it wasn't only Mordecai that tutored Esther. There were other people that tried to give us some advice. You know, they gave us some advices on what to do, of which she obeyed. So we viewers at home, we should have people that can mentor us. We should not be all-knowing. We are not God. We should have people that can mentor us, people that can correct us, people that can kind of beat us whenever we are digressing from the path of righteousness. And another thing I would say is that we should be courageous.
Yes, she was bold. She went into the king's court uninvited.
Yes, we should be courageous. We should not fear. You know, the Bible says that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but the spirit of boldness and of sound mind. So we should be bold to face challenges. We should not chicken out whenever we see some things. We should not just fear whatever comes our way. So far we have God as our backing, then we can face any challenge that comes our way. If she had chickened out, then Haman would have actually succeeded in killing,
because he has plotted everything.
And what the king, when I was going through that place, I was surprised why the king insisted that even the children, Haman's children, should be killed. Then later it not dawned on me, I said, probably if the children were not killed, later on in life, it might not be immediate. The children might want to take vengeance on their father's death.
Definitely.
That, okay, these people killed my dad, then all the, later in life, they will not be enemies to the Jews, either for reasons that are justifiable or not. So it brought punishment on the father. So we should be courageous so that whenever we have challenges, we might be able to face it, and believing that God is our greatest ally, He will give us victory on that. And we need to be prayerful.
Yes.
They always say prayer is the key.
Yes, it's the master key.
And just as you know, one of the pastors made us to understand that yes, prayer has its own key, but it has a door it can open. That it's not prayer that can just open all doors. For example, if you are a smoker and they're telling you smoking is not healthy for your health. What you need to get healed from probably the chest pain you are suffering from is not prayers. It's just for you to be obedient and stop smoking.
Exactly.
So yes, prayer is the key, but it's not like it can open all the doors, Give and it shall be given back to you. When you give, yes, you will receive. But you cannot be a stingy person. You fold your hands and you expect to be receiving. So, but prayer has a major role it plays. Just as Bible says in John 14:14 says, ask, whatever you ask in my name, I will do it.
Give it to you.
And Matthew 7:7 also buttress the point that we should ask and we will receive. Seek and you will find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. And he also told us that even if the earthly fathers know what to give to their children, you cannot ask your dad now for money and they will not say, go and take that paper that is on the table.
Exactly.
So if the earthly fathers can give good gifts to their children, how much more our heavenly Father? So whatever we ask, he will do it. And he said we should ask until our joy is full. You didn't just say ask and pause. You didn't just say ask and keep waiting. He said keep asking until that your expectation has been realized. And that was what Esther did.
Okay. We heard from our guest, she did well. She really went deep into the topic, Queen Esther. So what's your final take on the topic, Queen Esther?
My final take on this topic is that Esther feared God and she was a solution to her generation. So to viewers at home, let's instill the fear of God in our hearts so that it would direct us on what we should do. As it is written in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, the last verse, that this is the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, because that is the entire duty of man. So when you fear God and you keep his commandments, then you will go places and you will become a solution to your generation. And don't forget, be prayerful. Put God first in everything you do.
Esther was that Jewish orphan girl. She never thought she would ever be queen. And look at what God did. But it started from somewhere. She had the fear of God in her. She listened to Mordecai, her uncle. She was respectful everywhere she went. And she was beautiful. But she gave that beauty, that glory to God. And when she got into a place of position, when she got into the palace, Queen Esther remembered her people. It goes a long way to show us that, please, when we get into position, it's not a time to amass wealth. It's not a time to oppress people. It's a time to do the right thing. So as you have listened to what we have discussed about Esther, I want you to put it in practice. Remember, for we are still coming back with more topics on different Bible personalities. Till then, we'll say bye-bye.